Hello, it is your sleepless god back again with What If Percy Jackson Was Trained by Persephone and Hades, part 5? It's part 5, part 6? I don't know anymore. Uh, Last time we left off, we went into the museum and we talked about uh, with Percy seeing, obviously uh, a Titan, the person who holds up the world or the heavens. If anyone says the world, they're lying to you. It's the heavens. And that's actually more heavy in a sense. Uh, with that, though, he starts killing a bunch of men, of soldiers, uh, and actually starts rushing out to go and save Annabeth and not Annabeth, save uh, Talia, Luke, and the rest, and he does. Uh, with that, though, what's his name? What's her name? Zoe is kind of cursing him out a little bit, saying like, "Why are you here? Why?" And he's like, "You said better more than more than less." And Zoe finally accepts it. Says, "Okay, you're part of this quest now. I'm a leader. No, you're now part of this quest, and I don't leave anyone behind." As he hears the sounds of people like going or getting prepared, as we go, we get back into the story as you see Percy bust out of the museum and says, "Fuck, where do we go?" As Zoe pops out, "I don't know." As D'Angelo, Nico's sister, what's her name? God damn it. I always forget names. Names for me are the hardest shit to. I am so sorry for any person who likes to watch my what ifs. My name's terrible. I'm just gonna say D'Angelo. I say Nico if it's D'Angelo. Says she pops out. I think it's over here. As start running to the car as she starts blitzing as Percy's holding on to the handrail. She's like, "Fuck, fuck!" As he's up front. Luke, D'Angelo, and Zoe are in the back as she's zipping. As it's like left. As you hear D'Angelo say left, left. As she rip into the left. It's like fuck, fuck. It's like he looks up. He sees a helicopter. "Give me your bow." As D'Angelo's like, "What? Why?" "I'm gonna shoot down a helicopter." As D'Angelo kid hands her a bow, as he rolls down a window, pops out, and you see an arrow gets notched. Right. As he starts moving, as the helicopter kind of rams into the side, as he sees where they're gonna go, as he aims a little bit down, shoots it. As you see an arrow gets pierced as it's as he gets back in, as Zoe looks at him and says, "That was a shitty shot," as she wrenches off to the side into it looks like a parking garage as she rips inside as he's like, "That was a fuselage." As all you hear is like the plane start slowly like start going off, and you hear the start slowing down a little bit. He's like, "What do you mean fuselage? They're running out of fuel. It's emptying more quickly than they can expect. I didn't want to hit anything because humans, people, I don't want to kill anyone." As they rush down to a train section, as they buy tickets, as they open, they bust out, landing into a train. As they look back and they don't see anyone, as they keep on moving forward. As they sit down as they hear the train. As the train goes passing by everything. As Angelo, good idea. And Zoe says, "Yes. How did you think about this?" It's like, "Oh, last time we were here, there was not a train station, so I just remembered that. It was kind of interesting as instantaneously Percy remembers. Oh yeah, I remember now. Hades didn't mention that piece directly, but I can guess. Nico's past. Nico always talked into more of an older kind of language. He can pick up some words that are not used nowadays that they still use. Same with other D'Angelo. Uh, some words that they don't use that are not commonplace. And Percy did some research, rounding the period of time between what time that Zeus and Hades and then made a deal with no more children, a World War II age. Some of these words have been still commonplace. You filthy bastard. As the train stops, as he hears the train conductor say something, he says, "Got it." As they open up the gates, as all of them kind of launch off, as they start walking, as like as Luke says, "Any ideas now?" As they see it, like kind of an older looking man, white hair, kind of going down, a little bushy, but when he smiles, he says, "Hey kiddos, do you need a fire?" As they walk over there, as they all kind of start huddling up by the fire, and they start talking a little bit. As he says, uh, "Well, there's a train right there going to," as he says to, as as they all look, as they see a train, as Percy smiles, using his green eye to see Apollo. As he says, "Let's go." As he rushes off, opening a train car, letting everyone rush in and shutting it. He looks inside as he sees a uh, a car collection. He sees a muscle car, a Lamborghini Huracan, as well as kind of this like older looking like kind of Jeep car. Uh, as he looks back before he shuts the the train doors, as he sees the old man gone and the fire gone with it. As he shuts it, he's like, as uh, Talia says, that was some good luck. Luckily that old man tell us what about this is." Percy looks at her, says, "Yeah, lucky break." As Luke and Talia hop in the muscle car, as you see Talia lay on Luke's chest in the back as they fall asleep. Uh, D'Angelo Brat, and that's probably what I'm going to call her for now on, and oh fuck, what's her name? And the huntress go into the older kind of Jeep cars. Both uh, him and Grover go into the Huracan, the Lamborghini. Zoe and her, as they both sit as uh, Grover and them kind of stay in silence for a little bit of time. The quietness kind of grows with them, and then they finally he breaks it. "You love her." He looks over. "Yeah, yeah, I do." He doesn't hide it. He shows it with no regrets. "How much are you willing?" "I don't know. I think that's my problem. I don't know yet." I think I want to sacrifice the world for her, but I can't. My brain says I want to kill everyone that's touched her. Actually, wait, Luke is not there. Sorry. Luke is not there the entire time. Let me re explain everything. Luke is not there. I'm sorry. I completely forgot that Luke was not present. Uh, if I explain Luke is there, Luke is not there. Talia is sleeping by herself, sleeping in the quarters of not being really asleep. Uh, but let me talk to Talia. As he's like, what do you mean? He says, Luke has been gone for almost 3 days. She is not a patient person. I want to talk to her. As he opens up the Lamborghini, as he shuts it, as he goes to the muscle car, as he opens up the front doors, Talia is leaned back in her chair as you hear Metallica playing. As she changes the she like blasts it as he sits in the car, lowers down the music just a little bit. Metallica is still playing, but it's not as high pitch as Talia says. What do you want, young one? First, I'm not much younger. I'm not much older than you. Well, younger than you. Okay. Luke, as you see his fist, how are you feeling? I want to burn the world down to the ground. I know. Be patient, though. I'm not, though. I'm not patient. I'm not like you. I can't. You think I don't want them back? But you're calm. I'm like a storm. I want to rip. As Percy hugs her tight, as he whispers, you love him. I know this. We all know this. You will never give up. As they both stop hugging, as Talia says, "Thank you. I think I," as as he says, "Don't mention it." As how about D'Angelo? I know there's. I'm a sacrifice. I don't really know that much about anyone here. I think so. I as Talia like, what do you mean it? He says, I don't know. But I know this. I'm gonna save Annabeth and Luke, and you're gonna help me with it. As Anna, as Talia looks at him and smiles and says, "Yep, yes we are." As he opens the car door and says, "Sleep well, and don't play the rock music too loud." As he shuts it, he goes back to the Lamborghini as both the music that is getting played in the car is terrible, and also the person who is playing the music is now asleep. Uh, he turns off the music as he falls asleep. As he wakes up, as he's holding a young girl's hand, he kind of surprised. What is this? He feels strong. His voice feels tough. As the girl starts explaining why, as it's almost a haze for him in this mindset, but it starts to clear up a little bit. He sees his body. As he explains to her that most of the time he beats the monsters to death. As she hands him a pin that turns into a sword. Malakmus. Riptide. As he wakes up, as he sees Grover waking him up. Hey, Percy, wake up. As he puts the pen in his pocket, as he says, I get it now. Hercules. As he's like, what? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. As he opens the car door, as they both shut it, as you see Zoe as well as D'Angelo getting prepared. He says, I hear the train is going to stop soon. Be prepared. I'm always prepared. Have you never heard? Okay. Half-blood. As he Percy senses something before he gets off. But he doesn't notify it yet. He just senses it. As they open the door, as they rush out before anyone can notice them, as they get into a kind of this small skiing town where it's not really enough snow to ski and there's not enough things to come into place. But they start walking about as Percy buys a rat from the shop after asking directions, as Zoe goes by and tries to buy hot. Percy asks for hot cocoa. The rest asks for coffee. As Talia just starts marching off, she trying to burn off some energy, just getting back into it. As it's just her and it's just him and it's not Talia. Uh, D'Angelo. As it's kind of silent for a long period of time, and then it says, how's Nico? Good? Do you still... No, I do not hate you. Technically, you're family. I can't hate family for much longer. I don't have much of that. I don't know if you understand, but I just didn't want to be as... I understand. You didn't want the responsibility. I get it. I've been having Nico all around me for years now. I understand that in your eyes, you're not abandoning him because you gave him to me. But in Nico's eyes, you abandoned him. You shoved him off to the side. Even though 100% I'll take care of him to the end of time. I'll keep him safe until the world comes to pass and it burns down to the ground. But you as a sister, and I understand the responsibility that comes to that, you don't always want. But it's not something you can just throw away with because you want to be free. I've had the responsibility to be a hero since I was a boy, a baby almost. Don't you want to just run away from it? Every day of my life, I want to run away from being that. But that makes me not a coward, because it makes me worse than a coward. Because a coward runs away from nothing. I run away from my responsibilities. As an older sister, You have a responsibility. Try to keep him safe. And you squandered it. Even if you believe I would take him in, I would keep him alive, yes. But your responsibility to keep him safe, you squandered. And I'll say this, I'm not giving it back. And Nico won't give that back easily. For an example piece, and I get your point, and I'm not going to downtry you for doing that. But for an example, just to show what that means, imagine this. How many years have you and Nico have been together and you've been taking care of him? Since he was a boy. Let's say 6, 7 years. Maybe more. In his mind, he says more like 20, more like 60. Let's say 7 years. Imagine this. Have you seen a building being put up together? Yeah, it takes, a while. Imagine building a project, like a house, for 7 years. You're building that, and you're making the second floor, you're making the third floor, you're making the fourth floor, and you keep on going. And the person who was helping you build the house, you were building it together, you're helping each other out, poured gasoline on it and burned into fire. And you don't know why. That's what Nico feels right now. I never thought of it like that. Well, think of it like that. Instead of thinking it helps me, think of it what it does to Nico. As somehow Coco is finally given to Percy. He says, delicious. Thank you, Zoe. Zoe looks at her and says, you're welcome. As he feels a wind crest past his face, as he hears a squeak, squeak of a mouse, as the little birds on his cup start to move and come to life, as he senses it, Pan. He looks over at his friend. As Talia rushes, you smell it? As he looks over, as that sense of dread comes back over, he sees 3 skeletons and at least 10 men with guns. As he says, get down, as gunfire hits, as the snow blasts out, as he grabs Zoe and Talia. Actually, he grabs all of them and pushes them off to the side, pushing them into the snow as you start hearing gunfire as it starts hitting the snow, as snow starts spraying everywhere. As this is where we're going to end off the video here. I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.